My name is Steward, and I'm honored to speak on behalf of Sailors with a Sea tonight. And I want to thank Steve Smith for inviting me to speak tonight. Before I begin, I thought I'd tell you a little bit about myself and how I came to be here tonight. So I live in Coronado, as I already said, and I'm proud to be a member here at ABYC, where I feel I have the opportunity to sail with other laser sailors that I don't really get at home. As a member of ABYC, I'm fortunate to have Allie Bleacher as my coach. She's helped make huge differences in my sailing. We've traveled all over the place. She's a really great coach, and all the juniors here are so lucky to have her. Woohoo!
Yes, we are.
Yes. I began sailing sabots at the age of 7. I raced sabots, 420s, snipes, FJs, and now lasers. I've been fortunate to travel up and down the coast, across the country, competing in regattas from fun local competitions to also Miami OCR. Among many of those who encouraged me along the way is Latham Bell. He's been a huge supporter from the moment I met him when I was 7, sailing like sabots. Sailing is my true passion, and ABYC is, in my opinion, the best Southern California location for sailing. So people often ask me how I became the West Coast ambassador for Sailing with the Sea. My journey began when, at the age of 2, I began participating in monthly beach cleanups with the Rotary Club for my dad on the beaches of Coronado. I've been cleaning the beach ever since, now over 14 years. The seeds of conservation and environmental responsibility were planted early for me. 2 summers ago, I participated in SEA, or Semester at Sea. It was a summer at sea program designed to introduce high school students to the study of the ocean. I discovered the program actually on Stanford's Marine Science Center's website. I was doing some research and I came across it, and I learned that it was based out of Woods Hole, Massachusetts, and I applied for and was accepted to the program. There were a total of 14 students from all across the country aboard the SSB Robert C. Siemens. I stepped onto the ship not knowing anyone and really nervous as to what would follow. By the end of the trip, the ship was a part of me. The Siemens sailed down the coast of California, 500 nautical miles, from San Francisco to Catalina Island. All along the way, and 24 hours a day, we launched experiments over the side of the rail, collecting water samples up to 200 meters below and sediment grabs at various depths. All along the way, we were analyzing items found in our net tows and sampling different things and recording them for later use. During the voyage, we were trusted to do everything. We, the students, were the ones to make sure that the engine room was in order. We were in charge of steering the ship, checking the ships every hour, every inch of it, keeping lookout for navigational hazards. If we missed something in the engine room or on lookout at night, we could put the ship in danger and also the crew in danger. As we sailed south, we stood rotating 4-hour watches through the cold, foggy nights with clear stars some nights and shooting stars other nights, through rough and calm seas and many climate changes. Along the way, I saw fin whales, humpback whales, mola mola, dolphins, shorebirds, and lots of bioluminescence. At night, we could see dolphins over the side of the rail, paralleling the ship's course. While we couldn't see them, they looked like torpedoes from the trail of bioluminescence they left behind. And you would see them if you were standing watch on bow, you'd watch them go by. It was really, really fun. Well, I've come to love racing and sailing my laser nationally and internationally. This voyage kindled a newfound passion for studying the sea and how to preserve it for future generations. The net tows over the rail opened my eyes to big issues facing our oceans. In every single net tow, we found plastics, from microscopic bits to plastics the size of your fingernail to large chunks. It really broke my heart when not a single tow was without a trace of plastic. I came to understand the health of our oceans is at great risk because of the plastics and other problems introduced by humans. And the oceans need our care and attention. It was then I realized I had to do something, to do what I could to protect this precious resource. The second half of our trip was spent at the USC Wrigley Marine Science Center on Catalina Island. Here we continued to learn about the oceans and plastics. We were waking very early every morning to collect data in the field, and up very late at night to 11 o'clock, sometimes later in the lab, analyzing data. During the day, we attended college lectures about marine ecology and oceanography, and participated in activities that were designed to expand both our understanding and appreciation of the wonderful ecosystem of our oceans. Everything about this experience was stressful, but it was absolutely incredible at the same time. For my personal research project, I conducted observations on how Garibaldi, our state fish, changes throughout the course of the day. So in less than 24 hours, I collected underwater data, created tables and PowerPoints and charts for my research report, and presented an oral presentation to the scientists at the Institute and my fellow students. In addition to the scientific and practical shipboard lessons I learned, the experience taught me invaluable lessons that will enable me to work through future difficult problems under trying circumstances. As I said earlier, my trip aboard the Robert C. Siemens was a trip of a lifetime and the most exciting and challenging thing I've ever done. Needless to say, once I was back on the mainland, I wanted to find a way to get involved and help preserve our oceans. First, I found a way to continue to help support SEA. They came back to San Diego, and on separate occasions, they asked me to help with the University of San Diego trip to help sail them through the bay and out to the ocean around Point Loma, and another time to serve as a docent on the Siemens for the San Diego Festival of Sail. This past spring, however, I found another way to get involved. I began sailing regattas where participants would receive a free water bottle, and I began noticing this logo, Sailors for the Sea. And it would show up on water bottles, sailing instructions, maybe there was a banner or two. And previously I'd paid little attention to what this logo was, and one day I decided to Google Sailors for the Sea. What I learned is Sailors for the Sea is a conservation organization that engages, educates, inspires, and activates sailing and boating communities toward healing the ocean. It is a movement and pragmatic voice for action that offers boaters tangible opportunities to create legacy and make a difference. So Clean Regattas, and this is a quote from their website, is the world's only sustainability certification for water-based events. Clean Regattas program offers support and resources to reduce the environmental impact, a vital way to win the race to restore ocean health. So Clean Regattas is a voluntary self-assessment tool that provides step-by-step system for regatta organizations to benchmark their environmental footprint and set goals for the future. So the system builds upon successes for applying lessons learned and providing framework for understanding sustainability in all areas of regatta management. So what does this mean? Sailors for the Sea sponsors yacht clubs and regattas who register events as clean regattas and follow what are known as best practices. Some of the 25 best practices include water bottle reduction, water bottle refilling stations, and trash-free regattas. They fall into 3 categories: no trash, no trail, and no trace. I think we have one slide ahead. Maybe. Thank you. The more I learned about Sailors for the Sea and what they do, the more their clean regatta concept resonated with me. Their message appealed so strongly that I actually contacted them and proposed I become a person on the ground at events to help promote clean regattas. Tyson Botanis, who is the sustainability director at Sailors for the Sea, who's actually now my current boss, was excited and totally stoked in his words actually about my proposal. He'd been considering trying to find interns to do what I proposed. Next slide, please. Sailors for the Sea leadership quickly appointed me to become West Coast ambassador. And I went to work. So my first action was to create a banner to convey my Sailors for the Sea message to all audiences. You might have seen it as you walked up the stairs. I researched facts about plastics and devised a simple 3-pronged approach which every sailor and non-sailor can contribute. So 1, eliminate plastic water bottles. Only use reusable water bottles. We don't need single-use bottles. I have personally huge Nalgene bottles, and I have about 3 of them, and that's all I ever use. I take them everywhere with me. That's what I use during regattas. 2, commit to picking up 2 pieces of trash every day for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I like that.
That's 730 fewer pieces of trash in our oceans each year per person. 3, convince your friends to do the same. While one sailor can make a difference, what if every sailor did these 3 simple things? So I speak at regattas, give presentations to schools and yacht clubs, write blogs, and post on the Sailors for the Sea's Facebook page. So how can you individually and as a club help and get involved? So prior to regatta, race organizers work with Sailors for the Sea to create a clean regatta sustainability plan for implementing the best possible environmental practices at that certain event. During the event, race organizers and volunteers work with the regatta participants to ensure the plan is followed, while simultaneously collecting metrics about each best practice. After the event, race organizers submit their plan and metrics to Sailors for the Sea for certification. Our 25 best practices encapsulate everything a club needs to know in order to run a water-based event in the most sustainable way possible. With 3 sustainability indicators in each best practice, the certification system is based on a total of 75 points. The approach is simple enough. Start by choosing a few best practices that work best for your yacht club and focus on them, and each year endeavor to incorporate a few more and reach new heights on the sustainability ladder as we have. So I have a few facts I would like to share with you about plastics. So the first one is an average of 35 billion plastic water bottles are thrown away each year in the United States. Over 100,000 marine mammals and 1 million seabirds die annually from ingesting or becoming entangled in plastic. Plastic in the ocean breaks down into such small segments that fragments from a single 1-liter water bottle could end up on every mile of beach throughout the world. And just last week, the Associated Press reported that 8.8 million tons of plastic go into the oceans, and that more than half of that comes from 5 nations, with China being the largest plastic polluter. And the US currently ranks number 20 on the list of plastic polluters. So reflect for just a moment. Have you ever looked into a coach boat after a regatta, and just the inordinate number of water bottles and trash is disgusting? Imagine a regatta that leaves no trace on the club's grounds or waters. And I would like to make a comment quickly about this photo. I'm not sure if any of you follow Scuttlebutt, I'm sure a lot do, but if you haven't seen this photo, the picture on the left is from December 27th, 2014. This is from the Orange Bowl Regatta in Miami. Scuttlebutt took a picture of all the trash, and Sailors for the Sea, specifically my boss, Tyson, saw this and he was just horrified. So he traveled down to Miami and he tried to make a difference, and they actually worked with Miami OCR to get trash cans and recycling bins all around the regatta grounds at their multiple locations that OCR sailed out of, with logos explaining Sailors for the Sea. So I just thought this was a great example of Sailors for the Sea at work and what we do, and just to show you how much plastic water bottles we go through, and I think if we had all reusable water bottles, we wouldn't have to deal with this. Sailors for the Sea's Clean Regattas program offers race organizers, program directors, and marina managers the support and resources necessary to reduce our environmental impact. 1 part education, 2 parts activation. Clean Regattas unites and mobilizes sailors and provides a strategy to involve everyone in helping conserve and protect the ocean. Since the program's inception in 2006, over 650 regattas, rallies, sailing centers, and cruises have registered as Clean Regattas. Whether it involves sailing, rowing, or solar power, if you're hosting an event on the water, this program is for you. It is my hope that ABYC will register all regattas as Clean Regattas. It is simple to do. Just select the best practices that work for ABYC, register, and follow through by educating sailors through the notice of race and implementing just a few easy changes. Sailors for the Sea can provide the support needed to make ABYC Clean Regattas a reality. And I welcome the opportunity to assist my club in making the move to reduce our footprint on our waters.
Hear, hear.
Next slide, please. As a first step, I would like to ask each of you to use reusable water bottles, pick up 2 pieces of trash every day, and convince your friends to do the same. If 10 people in attendance this night convince 10 of their friends to do the same, and each of those 10 people convince their friends to do these 3 simple things, you can see the huge difference and impact this can make just by spreading the word. Be the sailor who makes the change. If we as sailors do not take care of our oceans, who will? So as a junior in high school, I began my college research. I plan to study marine science and hope one day to help solve and assist in the many issues that plague our oceans and aid in their survival as well as man's, because the 2 are inextricably linked. In closing, I would like to leave you with one of my favorite quotes. Please hit the next button, please. Thank you. So Mark Twain said, 20 years from now, you'll be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than the ones you did do. So throw off the battle lines, sail away from the safe harbor, catch trade winds in your sails, explore, dream, discover. Thank you.
Yeah.